Good morning, everyone. My name is Sterling Higa, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the July 2nd, 2025 At-Large Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 9:35 a.m.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's at-large board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCD communications staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name, pseudonym, or other identifier name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony and you are attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button followed by your Zoom screen. If you are attending in person, you will be called to the front of the room in the order that you signed up. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. When 1 minute is remaining, 1 minute remains will be called out. And when 30 seconds is remaining, 30 seconds remain will be called out. When time is elapsed, time will be called out, after which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony. Then your audio will be turned off. If you are attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated. The authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Before I proceed with the roll call, I would like to welcome Ms. Sabrina Nasser. Member Nasser is an ex officio designee representing the Department of Budget and Finance. Welcome back.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Lidstone.
Here.
Thank you. Member Miranda Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Nasser.
Here.
Thank you. Member Evans.
Here.
Thank you. Member Strikes.
Here.
Thank you. Member Yamashita.
Here.
Thank you. Member Hirakawa.
Here.
Thank you. Member China.
Here.
Thank you. Member Sakota.
Here.
Thank you. Member Gordner.
Here.
Thank you. Member Leong.
Here.
Member Leip is excused. Member Kabibi.
Here.
Thank you. Member Yamasaki.
Here.
Thank you.
We have quorum.
We have quorum. Thank you. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. Moving to agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. These are the regular meeting minutes of June 4th, 2025. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Agenda item number 3 is decision making. This is the election of officers for fiscal year 2025 through 2026. We will now conduct the election of HCDA officers for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. I note that our bylaws call for the election of officers to be elected on the first meeting following July 1st of each year, which is this meeting. And before we take nominations, we will hear public testimony. Do we have anyone pre-registered for public testimony?
None.
Any people present or online wishing to provide public testimony? Seeing none, we'll close public testimony. And I'll now open nominations for respective offices of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. Board members, you can either make separate nominations for each office or nominate a slate of officers, or you may also nominate yourself if you wish to volunteer to serve as an officer. So board members, are there any nominations for chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, or a slate of officers?
That's Chair.
Vice Chair Ishii, please.
Chair Higa, I would like to recommend the current slate that we have today, which would mean Chair Higa, myself as Vice Chair, and Secretary Mikiala.
Great, thank you, Vice Chair Ishii. Members, are there any other individual nominations or slate nominations? Seeing none, we will move now to voting on the slate as presented. So the slate being considered, member Ishii has nominated as a slate member Higa for chairperson, member Ishii for vice chairperson, and member Lidstone for secretary. Are there any other slates? Otherwise, we'll proceed to a roll call vote. Okay, Craig, if you please conduct a roll call vote on the nominated slate of officers.
Thank you, Chair. On the nomination of yourself for member Higa for chairperson, member Ishii for vice chairperson, and member Lidstone for secretary. Member Ishii,
Yes.
chair. Chair Higa,
Yes.
secretary Lidstone.
I.
Thank you. Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
member Nasser,
I.
member Strites. Aye. Member Yamashita. Member Yamashita.
Aye.
Thank you. Member Evans.
I.
Member Hirokawa.
Aye.
Member, aye, thank you. Member Chino.
Yes.
Member Sakota.
Yes.
Member Gardner.
Yes.
Member Leon.
Yes.
Member Life is excused. Member Kobibi.
Yes.
Member Yamasaki.
Yes.
Chair. Voted in favor of the slate. Congratulations to the new officers. Chairperson Higa, Vice Chair Ishii, and Secretary Lidstone. Thank you, members.
Thank you, members. May the will of the board be done. We'll move now to agenda item number 3 for information and discussion. This is an informational presentation and update by the HCDA staff regarding the following bills: HB 300, CD1 relating to the state budget, and HB 10007, CD1 relating to the Hawaii Community Development Authority. Mr. Craig Nakamoto, Executive Director, and maybe Mr. Garrett Sasaki will now present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair. I'm gonna ask Garrett we're gonna kind of tag team this. I'm gonna ask Garrett to present an update on HB 300 CD1 on the operational and the CIP budget for the Hawaii Community Development Authority. Garrett?
Thank you, Executive Director. Good morning, Board. The budget bill was signed into law Monday. There were no changes from previous updates, so it's the same. Just to highlight some of the changes from last year's budget to this year's, we did get one new position established, so we're working to get it fully set up and the position filled later this year. On the capital improvement side, we did receive or appropriated 15 million for the 99-year leasehold program, 2 million for climate change impact assessment, Kaka'ako Kailoa, 12 million for Ible Kapalama infrastructure, a combined 2.5 million for Kaka'ako Makai planning, 1 million for Kalailoa infrastructure EIS, and 5.5 million for Kupuna supportive housing. And that builds upon the previous year's $5 million general fund appropriation. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Sasaki, board members? Okay.
Oh, so
Please, member Stritz.
I guess I could wait to the last item, but the items you just called out, will those be reflected in the report of legislative appropriations at the end? In this month?
You're on page 4, on tab 4,
Yeah,
which page?
the very last, the table for legislative appropriations.
Oh, the CIP table?
Yes, they will be added in subsequent
Next month, or, so,
What's it released?
2 months.
okay,
So
thanks.
Any other questions about the budget appropriations, members, or comments? Seeing none, Mr. Nakamoto, would you like to talk about the other bill?
I will. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So, yesterday, the governor signed into law, House Bill 1007, which became Act 252. This, as some of you are aware, is HCDA's admin bill that was included in the governor's administrative package of bills. This bill and its changes makes, I think, some of the most significant changes to our statutory scheme since the establishment of the TOD Infrastructure Improvement Program back in 2022, which is included in Part 10 of our statutory scheme. The reason why, this bill is really significant is, one, it codifies the elements of the strategic plan, of helping other state agencies and the board policies that are, that have been established. Second, it really signifies the kind of evolution of the agency from a very community district centered agency to one that's evolving into project focused work. And then lastly, it really changes the focus or allows the agency to work on projects on a statewide basis. And it does that because two of the provisions in the bill, one provision allows us to provide assistance to state and county agencies, which is something that this board supported it and endorsed in the strategic plan. The second that supports that on a statewide focus is that we may use our powers to for outside of our community development districts. So that means our powers can be used in Waipahu, Pro City to do various projects. The other provisions in the bill, one was to kind of streamline the TOD Infrastructure Development Board. It removed the 4 boards and created, and put the power in the General Authority Board, which was our original intent. The last 2 provisions allow us to issue bonds for infrastructure. The first, which I kind of call option 1, is at page 7, line 18 of the bill, where it allows us to work with the city, which would create a CFD, Community Facilities District, and then direct that we or ask that we issue bonds. The second is on page 38, line 6 of the bill, which would allow us to issue bonds, HCD to issue bonds. And that has a ceiling cap of $180 million. I mean, these provisions are here, but the key to actually issuing bonds is really having a revenue source that's gonna support the bonds and provide debt service to the bonds. So all that has to come out in underwriting and analysis of it. So just because it's here, that doesn't mean we can, issue bonds. It definitely needs that secure, revenue source to do. The governance structure of the General Authority Board is changed a little bit. in essence, what the bill does is to kind of create a sub-board of the General Authority Board. So on matters that are related to 206E Part 10, the bill adds two TOD experts, so-called TOD experts that have to be appointed. And then it adds four non-voting ex officio members, the chairs of the Senate and House Housing Committee and the chairs of the Senate and House Transportation Committee were ex officio non-voting. And the way the bill is set up is on those matters, that board will be, convened. On matters related to the 99-year leasehold program, on matters related to hiring of the executive director, on matters relating to the review and approval of our annual audit, the regular board, so-called regular board, will be convened without those additional members that I talked about. I think it was necessary to do that because, the board without those members have its own purpose and its own duties to do. And I think we didn't want to, mix up the two, wanted to keep it segregated. It does fortunately make more administrative work for our board secretary, but I think it was necessary to do that. So there's gonna be, a lot of, implementation that we're gonna have to do with this. And then, of course, working with the champions of this in the legislature to implement. But I think it represents the best version of this bill, that could have come out of the legislature. It wasn't always, didn't always look like this, but there was a lot of work. So to that end, I wanna, thank the board for their support of this, thank Garrett and his team for their support, Ryan and his team for really lending a lot of support to this. Of course, Francine, Tommy Lynn, Deepak, our Deputy Attorney Generals, Kevin and Kelly, Board Secretary Armaine. And then I just want to give a special shout out to Member Evans, who, came out, was in a lot of the meetings that we were in with the legislators and, testified in support of this. And I hope I didn't, miss anyone, but there was just a lot of people who really helped on this, a lot to get it to where it is. So just wanted to thank everybody and the board for their support. It was a journey on this one, that's for sure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Open to questions.
Director members, questions or comments for Executive Director Nakamoto,
I have a question.
please.
So I don't have the bill in front of me, but is there going to be some effort from HCDA to look at kind of like the benefits of the community facilities district and versus like what actually can already be provided by just, the HCDA authority in general?
Yeah,
Or could there be some type of review like that?
I think so, Member Nasser. The two bond options that I pointed out, in both of those options, it doesn't allow HCDA to create a CFD. The first option, which is on page 7 of the bill, really only allows the city to create that CFD. However, I think under our current structure and our current statutory scheme and I think rules, even though it's not called the CFD, I think we're able to create these improvement districts and assess. So even though it's not called a CFD, I think it's going to accomplish the same purpose of Member Nasser, where we can create a district and have district boundaries of lands and parcels, landowners that are benefited by a particular infrastructure development and assess a proportionate amount of the cost to these benefiting landowners. For that, though, we're going to have to do rulemaking and promulgate rules like we've done with Kakako, Kakako improvement districts. And I think for our Kalaeloa electrical upgrades that we're planning to do, Saratoga, my direction is to do an improvement district assessment for those that Saratoga project, and maybe even the enterprise one. And the reason is twofold. I think one, we should get some contribution from other landowners and from HECO. The second is, I think we have to kind of build up a little bit of our improvement district muscle and start doing improvement districts, because I think we're gonna have to do something similar for TOD program areas. It's been a long time since we've done an ID project. I think the only person on our staff who has been involved in one is Deepak. So I think we're gonna have to build up our muscle in that. So that's why I've directed our staff to look at an ID bond for the Kailua project. And we might have to do it for other, because we might have to do it for other TOD program areas.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Chair.
Member Nessa.
Thank you. Members, any other questions or comments for Director Nakamoto? Fun times ahead.
But
Seeing no board member questions or comments, we'll open public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up for testimony? Any persons present or online who wish to provide testimony? Seeing none, we'll close public testimony and move now to agenda item number 4. This is the report of the executive director, monthly report, and other status reports, including the financial highlights for May 2025. Executive Director Nakamoto will now provide his monthly report, with Garrett Sasaki, Chief Financial Officer, on standby to answer any questions.
thank you, Chair. The report is in tab 4 of your packet. The first thing is I want to just report on the informational on-site presentation that was made by Kaze Power. This was conducted at our Lot C next to the Entrepreneur Sandbox. And some of the board members had an opportunity to get a presentation on the vertical coaxial twin blade wind turbine installation at Lot C. I think it was a very good presentation, a lot of questions during the informational presentation. Member Strikes brought out, some of his planning staff. Energy office staff was there. Member Yamasaki, Member Strikes, Member Sakota, Secretary Lidstone, and Chair Higa were there as well. So all of this was done as part of the informational presentation. And there were no commitments or votes by the board members taken at this site. Then moving on to the financial highlights, just maybe pointing out one thing, and Garrett can also be available, but on the third page of the financial highlights, you can see in the reserve housing column, the 12 million you see there, that is the reserve housing funds that are available, less maybe $1 million for acquisition of parcel P2. So roughly 11 million, but that's where the reserve housing sub-account lies. Okay, available for questions, and then Garrett's available for questions on the financials. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director. Members, questions or comments for Director Nakamoto or Mr. Garrett Sasaki? Seeing none, we will move to public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up for testimony? Any persons present or online who wish to provide public testimony? Seeing none, we will close public testimony. Members, any final questions or comments? Seeing none, I will thank you for your time. Thanks to everybody who joined us in person or on Zoom. Welcome, Member Nasser. Glad to have you aboard. This concludes our business for today. The meeting is adjourned. The time is 9:59 a.m.